So just scrying the Aethyr of UTA. And the angels are just bidding me be still, the governors. And feeling some energy coming up off of the Book of Silvered Leaves in particular, a little bit off of Amzes Naghezes Hardeh, aka Liber Loagaeth. So just relaxing into this. And now it's like the previous two visions from today had a lot to do with this tower, which is sort of like the light side of, if the Tower of Babel is the shadow, then this is the light side. But I'm being taken up this cylinder, and the angels are mentioning that this hypercone, which I saw in a previous vision, that the work I've done is sufficient. And they're having me imagine it feels as if this tower, this cylindrical tower, is rising up, but moreover, it's like there's this. It's like it's the same sort of spiral, tubular spiral that I saw in about the hypercone, which is basically representative of this tower. And so they're having me sort of see the entire hypercone basically whirl about this. And so this is of interest. And yeah, they're having me just look down. And they're acknowledging some of the limitations. My body was kind of close to heat exhaustion earlier. So they're having me look down and see this vast field. So in the previous Aethyr, it was like there was this unrolling into like a two-dimensional field that was sort of verdant, sort of informational, depending on a little bit reflecting the astrology of the moon. But now I'm seeing, so the angels are having me look down, and it's like I'm seeing from this perspective a lot of lighting up of the energy below me. And so they're mentioning that in a conversation that I had with Cody P, that this was actually fairly accurate. So they're having me just look at this from the perspective of emotion. And they're having me really think through what it would mean for an emotion to exist in this hyperdimensional way. So I'm just considering this for a moment. Usually in this 3D realm, an emotion causes us to move forward or shrink, or go up and down. For example, when we're happy, we sort of feel up. When we are sad, we shrink down. When we are angry, we might steel ourselves for a fight, or we might, lean forward a little bit. If we're afraid, we'll lean back. And disgust, it's similar to anger in that way. And pride is sort of similar to happiness. And I think those are the main basic emotions. Anyway, and calm, it's like we return to our center. So the angels say that's a good enough analysis. So they're saying now, in a hyperdimensional way, the trouble is, what exactly is forward, right? A 4+ dimensional thing. What is truly forward when you can kind of do, they're telling me to imagine like a 45-degree angle emotion. That's the sort of thing that we're dealing with when we are looking at some spiritual centers. And so, for example, awe, it's like we don't have, we consider that to be a transcendent emotion, right? But we don't have a good directional view of what that is. So we think we just stand here, but really, just, I'm in awe. And then really what happens is it's more like, okay, but it's both that, but you're also on your knees, right? And, or you're, maybe it's mimicking the feeling of fear, right? Where, I have to be on my knees, or I have to submit, that sort of thing. So the angels are just putting that in the back of my mind, and they're telling me that more will come tonight, maybe more in a dream. But by tomorrow, a lot will be clearer as far as this question goes. So they're saying this is sort of hinting at some of the crossing of the abyss, that those rules that sort of allow for that to happen. They're saying that some of those same rules are also related or incorporate these emotions in hyperdimensionality, and some emotions which are only apparent in hyperdimensionality. So, for example, entelechy, E-N-T-E-L-E-C-H-Y, is an emotion that sort of it sort of goes beyond the three dimensions, and they're making a point to distinguish between like mixed emotions, in which case it's more like a non-orthogonal, in other words, like a 45-degree angle or a 30 or whatever the case may be. You're combining two of the three dimensions, whereas some of these transcendent emotions, such as entelechy or even curiosity, they're showing me there's sort of like this four-dimensional vibe to that, and we're going along the fourth dimension rather than the X, Y, or Z axis. The curiosity is almost like, they're telling me, is like a Y-dimensional emotion. So yeah, and there, by the way, love is kind of like a left-right emotion. It's like we want to get close to the person, So anyway, just a little bit of extra imagery there. And I'm trying to see what else they might have here, and asking them if they do have anything else. I want to be sure like this is kind of clean. And so just opening my heart up and really trying to focus on generating bodhicitta, generating love, and also, assuming this hyperoctahedral form. And it's like, again, there's this light that emanates, and it's like I'm seeing patterns along these four-dimensional emotions when I look down there. I'm seeing the letter Z or Z, depending on where you're from, or Zod if you're using older school English pronunciation, early modern English. And there's something about this letter in Enochian, it's Keph, K-E-P-H. And it's like I'm seeing they're trying to get me to see something about what this letter has as in terms of emotional valence. Especially the Enochian version, the Keph. And, they're trying to just take me away from the names of like zodiacal kings here, just focus on the letter itself. And it's not quite curious. It's not quite inspiring. It has, let me just feel into this for a moment. And by the way, they're saying that this is a good exercise for anybody when they're in this vision state to try to find, specifically this Aether, right? The UTA Aether, UTA, VTA, to come into this Aether and really search for some emotional valence. And it, by the way, as an aside, that's a relatively rare thing for the angels to do, so be advised of that. And it's like, so the sense I'm getting really here is softness. And it's a softness of the heart, and it's like I'm feeling the center, for lack of a better term. And the angels are saying yes. There's a real centrality and an acceptance of the centrality. So the noting well that calm is sort of the beginning of this, but softness is different from calm, right? Calm is a lack of engagement with a lot of things. Softness means it's a receptivity to a lot of, to almost anything, right? Whereas calm is, I'm okay with how things are right now. Whew. Softness is, no matter what is here, I'm going to feel calm. So, or I'm going to be accepting is a better way of phrasing it. And I'm going to allow myself to be moved, as opposed to hardness. You can't, blah, blah, blah. A softness implies like the ultimate resilience. Like a perfect softness is going to be the same no matter what. So, and again, I'm pointing out perfect softness. So the softness that no matter what, it will like return back to its normal state. So I'm being told the angels are saying that each one of the Enochian letters has associated with it a certain emotional valence. And they're telling me specifically that all of these emotions from the Enochian alphabet are like of the positive valence of quality, of that quality. So they're saying that when I get to the later pages in the book, that's when this a real ripening and a real fruition of what's been going on a lot of the work that I've been doing emotionally, that actually is the promise. So it'll be of interest to, whether it's recorded or not, it'll be of interest to share that. So I actually think that this is one of the more profound revelations of this work so far. And I frankly think that this will probably be of interest to Enochian practitioners in the years to come, because of like this internal alchemy that can be done and now assisted by doing basically a path working of an Enochian letter for a different reason. So there will probably be a few people who I reach out to about this, or at least one in particular. Okay. So, well, yeah, several people. Who am I kidding? So, okay. Yeah. So the angels are just telling me to be prepared for that. And as best I can to remember to try to describe the emotional feeling. Because we're into a new phase of this, they're telling me. And it makes sense. We're about a third of the way through. So if we were to block this off in phases, then I believe today is the 17th day. So yeah, we're a third of the way through. So it's not surprising to me that things are changing. All right, so I'm very grateful to the angels for this. I'm asking if there's anything else. And they're just bidding me to sit back as they work through a little bit more energetically of my subtle body. But yeah, this is feeling pretty good. So I'm very grateful to the angels in the sense, the vision.